Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful LCA podcast. I have an intro. We're doing something different. I have an intro today, and then I'm going to ask you how you're doing, okay?
Okay. All right. Give it to us. Give it
And
to us.
we had it wrote it down. Welcome to Mindful LCA, the podcast where we explore the connections between mental health and our everyday lives. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both deeply personal and incredibly important: why mental health is a cornerstone for a successful marriage. Marriage is one of the most profound relationships we'll ever experience, but it's also one of the most challenging. In the United States, the current crude divorce rate is about 2.4 for 1,000 people, and roughly 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce. But the story doesn't end there. Studies show that nearly 33 to 50% of parents stay together even when unhappy, simply for the children's sake. These numbers reveal that while many couples separate, a significant number choose to stay in less than ideal marriages to protect their kids, even when their all well being suffers. This is why addressing mental health before and during marriage is so crucial. Unresolved stress, poor communication, and untreated mental health challenges don't just harm the partners, they impact the whole family. In this episode, we'll unpack mental health factors that affect marriage, from emotional stability and trauma to communication styles, financial stress, and external pressures. We'll explore research based insights and offer practical strategies to help couples build healthier, more resilient partnerships. Whether you're preparing for marriage, already married, or simply curious, you'll gain tools to strengthen your relationship and support your mental well being as individuals and as a couple. You forget that I'm recording a podcast? Okay, go close the door. I'm recording, Aaliyah. Sorry about that. The girls came over here right on time. Close the door. Close the door. I'm recording, girls. Come on. All right. Close the door all the way, Mia, please. See? Real behind the scenes stuff. So yes, with that said, real parenting, real stuff happening here. How are you doing today, Norma, before we get into it?
Wow. Look at you putting effort into our little podcast. I have been really a really bad mother to our podcast, so I apologize. Um, that was really cool. That was really cool. I like that. I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was still processing how I was still processing that. How am I? I am exhausted. I
Mhm.
am exhausted. Sometimes I work at the stadium here in town, and Shakira was in came into to concert, so I worked that event. I didn't get home until like 1:30. I was hungry, so I ate. I didn't go to bed till like 2:30, and I'm tired. I'm really tired. But I'm really happy to be here. You could, like, for those of you that won't see us, that will just hear us. Um, my face looks puffy as fuck. Like I am struggling today, but I'm happy to be here. I'm just really tired. How are you?
Yeah. Uh, it what now I'm like, and we had a conversation before we started recording and
A
all that
whole
stuff.
last
I
hour
feel,
conversation.
yeah. So just I feel more. I want to say lighter than I've been feeling.
Good,
I feel a
good.
little bit more at peace with what's been the turbulations and the shit that's been happening in my life. So yeah, just feeling. I want to say lighter is the actual definition of it. Like it doesn't feel
Of
so
how you
heavy as
feel.
much after the last couple of days and what's been going on. But yeah, all right,
Good.
let's get started. So I have a little bit of research. I asked ChatGPT to give me some research on why relationships, according to studies, so things are failing. So I'm just gonna read some of them here. Um, so this is like couples that get divorced. What percentage of this? What percentage of those couples say, "Oh, why did you think your marriage failed?" Or which of these parts think played a role in your relationship failing or your marriage failing? Lack of commitment is 75%.
Oh,
Infidelity was 60%.
that's me.
Excess, excessive conflict, poor communication, 57% said that. 45% said marrying too young, too young. Financial problems, 36 to 40%. Substance abuse, 34 to 35%. domestic violence 23 to 24%, health problems 18%, lack of family support or incompatibility 17 to 58%, and unrealistic expectations, poor preparation was 41%. So,
What it was the very first one, the commitment. Okay.
yeah, lack of commitment. So what we're gonna do now is go over some of those things and some of those aspects on all the different things that we think, or that I think, because this is the first time Norma's like hearing about this, all the things that I came up with that I think are important to giving you the best chance at succeeding in a relationship. Doesn't guarantee anything. Like, this is the thing I want to say. Everything that we're going to talk about doesn't guarantee your relationship is going to succeed, and anything that, and it also, you not having any of this doesn't tell you that the relationship is also going to fail. You get me?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
you can be in a happy, healthy relationship without having any of this, and you
Yeah.
can have all of this, and like shit can still hit the fan. So take all this information with a grain of salt, and it doesn't mean anything either way that it's gonna fail or it's gonna succeed if you don't have it. It's just giving you the what we think is gonna give you the best chance at it.
Yeah.
um, so when it
And
comes to
for
the first couple of topics are like mental health and like your personal mental health when it comes to just you, and the first thing is emotional stability. And when it comes to emotional stability, it wants you to assess your ability to regulate emotions and handle stress. So the format that I decided to go here with Norma is like, let me just ask you the question: what is emotional stability?
Chon chon chon. I don't
Like,
know.
what is it? What I have know what you're talking
I
about.
don't.
What?
I've never heard of that. That's the first time I've heard that term. I'm kidding. Emotional damage. I can tell you what that is. Um.
Same.
So it it's Why do I feel like we talked about this
Yeah,
already?
we did because we did a couple of
About
things on it and through the movie and stuff. Remember?
emotional, just like emotional intelligence in general, like
Mhm.
like the very first episode of this. By the way, we are coming up on a year, and this might be the episode. Is this the episode that's going to come out when we hit a year?
This will come out 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
There's one
So
more for
then
tomorrow,
no.
and then 2 weeks.
Okay, so then the one, no, then two episodes ago, we just hit 1 year. But when we
Mhm.
are recording this one, because like we are ahead a little bit, um, we hit our first year of like launching, um, July 1st. That was when
That
our
makes sense
first.
because we're about to be on episode 52. So yeah, that makes sense. It's
Yes,
52 weeks and all that.
I was
Yeah.
looking at it. I was like, "Oh my god, I think we're coming up in a year." And I went back on Spotify and I was like, "Oh my god, our first one launched on the
Yeah.
1st." Um anyway, sorry. Very scatterbrained, as you can tell today. Um so our very first episode was about emotions, right? Like
Mhm.
what are emotions? How can we feel it? So emotional intelligence has different components that we had already like discussed. One of them is the ability to regulate your own emotions. So let me see. No, I don't have it on here. Um, but so when we talk about like, well, what it means, and we should probably do an episode on just that emotional intelligence, because we could go into like that. But anyway, so just to list them off. um Being able to regulate your nervous system when you are having an emotion, being able to identify your emotional needs, being able to communicate them, being able to receive that those emotional needs, while also taking into account the other person's emotional experience, right? Because a lot of times it's we get caught up in like, well, I'm hurt, and then the other person gets defensive or is also hurt, and then it's like, well, because I'm hurt right now, your hurt or your defensiveness doesn't matter. Like, your job is to give me whatever it is that I'm needing. And that is going to be very difficult because we can't, unfortunately, we don't have a switch that can be like, all right, Norma, turn off your emotions so you can make sure you attend to your partner's needs. So it's being able to juggle our emotional um, response while also holding the other person's. I
Hmm.
don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So in a practical way, I like to just put like an actual situation. Let's say for whatever reason I am angry at Celia. I'm angry at my wife. One way that I would be able to regulate my emotion would be to like, well, it gets into it in a little bit. The next one is self-awareness, but to be like, to name it and be like, I am angry, and then be like, okay, I know that I'm angry. So I know that whatever comes out of my fucking mouth is probably not going to be for the best because I'm right in a high wave of emotion. So practically what I can do is I can step away. I can take a deep breath. I can go do some other stuff. But mainly the easiest thing is for me is just taking a deep breath and kind of calm myself down, or let her know, hey, I'm angry right now, so like I don't want to talk about it. This is not the right time. I don't feel like talking right now, and I know I'm going to do that. That is regulating my emotion, so that then I don't let the emotion take over me, and then I let the anger fucking have me swearing or yelling or saying something that I don't mean to say because I'm in a high level of emotion, right? So that is how you regulate it. That's how I'm handling stress, right? Like that's how I'm like, okay,
That is
okay,
not regulating the emotion. That's awareness. What you just
uh-huh,
described is awareness of being
mm-hmm,
able to recognize what emotion is coming up and
mm-hmm.
what, like, your body's like, go scream at her. That is self awareness.
Yeah, but the was not
Yeah,
the
actually,
breath part. The breath part is not regulating it.
yes, the breath part, yes.
Okay.
So, like, when you're like, okay, I need to step away right now,
Hmm.
what you do there to calm your ass down from that anger, that is emotional regulation. So it
Okay.
could be
Yeah. So it's both.
one of the coping tools that we've talked about. But just being able to be like, I'm angry right now and I'm not going to say
Yeah.
something
That'll
nice,
be the,
that's not emotional regulation.
yeah. That's
Something
what I
needs
just
to
like. I
happen so
mentioned.
that,
Kinda,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
I
That'll be
I don't know why I
that'll be the
didn't hear
self
the
awareness part.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I was like. It's taking two things. I'm having self awareness, and then I'm regulating by doing that. Because just think how often in relationships in the past, and not even in the past, even going forward, how many fucking times I still lose my cool and I say or behave or do something that I shouldn't have said because I was right in a high level of emotion. So just think how important it is for us to do that in our relationships, in our marriages, because how much shit could be avoided just by simply being able to step away or to have the awareness, as we're going to talk in the next one, and maybe I should
If
just skip it.
if you
'Cause
walk away though, this is so important for my avoidantly attached humans. If you choose to walk away, and granted for us anxiously attached humans too, but if you are the one that chooses to walk away from a conversation because it is too heated and you don't want it to get out of hand, you are totally allowed to do that. Come back.
yeah,
Fucking come back. Because many avoidant people will be like, I'm too heated. I don't want to talk about this, and never bring it up again.
yeah,
If you're the one that is like, time out, yeah, I'm tapping out, that's okay. When you are ready, when your nervous system is regulated, I'm going to need your ass to come back and talk to me about what it is that was going on. Because
yeah,
if not, then we get into a cycle of we're sweeping shit under the rug. That is a fucking recipe for
yeah.
failure.
Hmm.
Don't do
Because this is just regulating the emotions, right? And I remember you said it was like 90 seconds or something like that, or
it.
whatever you
Yes,
said it
the
lasted.
physical, the
Yeah.
physical
So
90 seconds.
yeah, so it's dealing with that, but yes, because you not resolving it doesn't make it go away, and like that's what you're getting into there. The next one
Yes.
was another one, but the third one was self-awareness, and since we're talking about that, we already kind of touched on it a little bit. But what is self-awareness? What does it mean to have self-awareness?
Mm-hmm. Self awareness is being able to recognize your triggers, recognize your emotion. Um, and recognizing the emotion has the little two parts of like recognizing it at a physical level. Where in my body is this showing up? And being able to label it, right? Of like, oh shit, I feel this like hole in my tummy. Okay. Is that anger? Is that fear? Is that nervous? Is that embarrassment? Like, what the fuck is it? Um, and being able to name those things of like recognizing, like, oh, you said this, and that's making me feel some type of way. It's showing up here in my body. What do I
Hmm.
want to do with that? That is self awareness.
Hmm. The little definition that I had here is understanding your triggers, understanding your communication style, and understanding your emotional needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sorry.
So
Yeah. I was in my brain, I was thinking about just like the emotion itself.
yeah.
But yes, it is important to um I don't know why my brain registered that as emotional awareness rather than self-awareness. But
Hmm.
yeah, like how do I show up whenever it is that I get triggered? How am I showing up? Like I
Hmm.
tend to like if there is something triggering me, I no longer yell, but I still my voice does get like very passionate. So like to maybe like people on the outside might still see me as like I'm mad, but I may not be mad. I may just be like very passionately talking about it. So that's one thing that I've had to become aware of. Um, like people have mentioned to me, like, why are you mad? And I'm like, no, 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 I'm not mad. I recognize that I'm talking to you like very passionately right now, but I am not angry, right? Like
Hmm.
I use my hands a lot when I talk. People sometimes don't like that. So, like, how does our body behave too when we are getting triggered? And yes, recognizing like what are my emotional needs, and you'll be surprised how many of us don't know that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So just to give you some examples of my self-awareness is that I've learned over the past, I am very fucking angry. It's easily for me to get angry and for me to yell and for me to do that. And I'm dealing with that anger. I am an emotional fucking eater, and it makes 100% sense now. And I'm becoming more aware of it that I am an emotional eater. And I
Me too.
also
Tears.
became I became aware that, and I've known this for a while, that I shut down to people when I'm sad. Like when I'm sad, Steve goes away. You won't see Steve fucking sad. When Steve is angry, Steve is right there and telling you to your fucking face that he's angry. But when Steve is sad, it completely disappears. So those are some examples of having self-awareness and realizing that, right? And then having, even if you want to go more in depth, then I'll figure out, how did I become an emotional eater? Why is it that I get so angry, and why is it that I shut down when I'm sad? Like that's getting more in depth and being even more self-aware, like not just labeling them, but seeing that. So again, think how that affects my relationship with my wife. Is like, well, why am I fucking getting upset at yelling at her? Maybe when I fucking need sad, instead of going to her and trusting her and doing that, like I shut down and I deal with it on myself, and how that affects the relationship and all those things, you know? So that is self awareness. All right. The next one is our traumas.
Ooh,
Like
yes.
work through any unresolved trauma or adverse experiences. So how, well, first of all, in the most basic way, what are
Mhm.
traumas? And then part two of the question, how do those traumas affect us or can possibly affect us on the daily life?
Yes. That would be a very good question for a therapist. Oh. Oh shit.
Turn it on. You have to turn it on.
We're recording on a Sunday. I don't work on Sundays. Um so trauma, many people think that trauma is an event. Um like a catastrophic event that happens to us, and like a bad event, a calamity. I learned that word in
Mhm.
high school, calamity.
Same.
Um, but I'm very scatterbrained. I didn't realize that until now that I have to like work. But it's actually not the event itself. It is how people are responded to when the event happens. And this is actually knowledge from, I never know how to pronounce his name, so I'm sorry. Gabor Mate. Am I
Yeah,
saying that
Gabor mate.
correctly?
Yeah, Gabor
Gabor
mate.
Mate. Um, so it's the what your body wasn't able to do with, when the event happened, and how other people around you responded within that event. So there has been research where people with like similar backgrounds have like they go through similar quote unquote traumatic events, and like how some people would develop like PTSD and some other ones wouldn't. um the difference was that the people that wouldn't had a lot of like social support,
Mm.
a lot of social support. So it is being okay. Trauma is when something happens and you are alone in your pain. That is what
Mm.
causes trauma.
Mm. Makes sense.
Our bodies, we've talked about upstairs brain, downstairs brain. Downstairs brain, that's where our limbic system, our amygdala lives. That is where our instinctual responses live. That is where our core memories live. So anything that threatens you, like fears and stuff, your brain will remember or store it there. So then, like, oh, last time when our life was in danger, this is how we responded and this is how we survived. So
Mm.
next time that our life is threatened, this is how we're going to respond. So if you come from a childhood where you were ignored, where you were sent to your room, where emotions weren't talked about, and if you had any type of emotional reaction, you were shut down and you were like hit, beaten, shamed, whatever the case may be. So then your body is like, hey, I don't want to get my ass kicked, bro. So we ain't gonna cry. We're gonna go to our room. We're gonna isolate. We're gonna shut the fuck up. So then in adulthood, your brain remembers that. Like right now, I'm really angry or I'm really sad. But our brain knows that if I talk to my partner about this, they're probably going to be like, shut the fuck up, go to your room, figure it out. So then I will save myself that uncomfortable interaction, and I'm just going to go to my room and isolate, and I'll talk to you about this sadness. So our body remembers when we go through um, what we go through and
Mhm.
like how we survived in the past, and it will do that for us.
Yep. It's as
Welcome
simple
to
as
attachment wounds.
yeah, it says as the reasons why, since we talked about my self-awareness thing, everything that I said about me shutting down when it comes to feeling sad, the reason why I fucking yell, and the reason why I emotionally eat or don't eat, it's because of some trauma and some shit that happened in the past that I fucking used eating, yelling, and shutting off as coping mechanisms to those traumas. Like I turned
Yes.
off and all those things. So my way of reacting to those certain situations is literally led because either a one-time thing that happened to me that was very traumatic, or like a bunch of times of like, stop being a fucking baby, don't cry, and all this stuff. So then you just learn that this is, your brain is like, oh, This is what happens. This is what happens. This is what I'm okay. I'm not even gonna bother, or like you said, exactly what you explained. And that is how traumas work, right? Like that is how that works. And then again, how do you connect this to the relationship as well? Like, yeah, like the anger, the sadness, the shutting off and all that, how is that affecting it? Because ideally, and this is mainly, I like that this came to my mind now, ideally your partner, your husband, your wife should make your life so much easier and should show up for you to make it like easy and loving and trusting, and you should have that's where ideally you want that to happen. The reason why I fucking came up with this episode is because there's such a low standard in my community, in my society, for marriages, that people think that bitching and complaining about your wife or your husband and having emotional neglect and having to deal with alcoholism and having to deal with jealousy and having to deal with all this, having to deal with all the traumas, all that stuff, and having to just live in that where you're traumatized, they're traumatized, all those emotional regulation is non-existent and all that. People think that that is the normal thing, that is that, and then you get yourself in a situation because it's what's familiar, where the suffering just continues over and over. So this is also partly an episode that comes with like, what is and at the end maybe we can ask ourselves this question: what would an ideal marriage, what would an ideal relationship look like and feel like? Just remind me to ask this at the fucking end so that we can kind of have an idea and put something together on what it's supposed to look like versus what people are used to. Because I see a lot of suffering. I see a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, and people just in the cycles of shitty relationships. And they maybe, hopefully, to some of you, this opens up your eyes to be like, oh shit, it's not supposed to be like that. And then again, you can go down this checklist and be like, oh, what am I missing? What can I work on? Or what does this person have? What do I not have? And all that stuff, you know? And we'll get more into the other shit, but let's continue this part of it. Um, the next thing is mental health conditions, right?
Woo.
So, mental health conditions. Um, what are some examples, or what are mental health conditions?
Do we um do we deal with depression? Do we deal with anxiety? Do we deal with schizophrenia? Do we deal with
OCD.
bipolar, OCD? It's all of the things. Oh, coming from a decolonial mindset, right? Like we have to acknowledge of like also because I was going to say everything that is within the DSM, which is the diagnostic something manual. It is the westernized book of mental health disorders, and as a therapist, that is like what I go off of. However, um, this comes from a Western lens, okay? And like right now, um, I'm an anxious little bug, and I've been feeling very tired, very because of like everything that is going on in the world. Okay, so also acknowledging that what if all of these conditions don't wouldn't be mental health conditions in other instances outside of the westernized perspective. Sorry, just
Just
needed
say
to say that.
capitalism. So just say capitalism.
Capitalism, yes. but but not just capitalism, because I'm thinking of like, okay, what about like schizophrenia, right? Like within Latina community, like a lot of people can have like connection to like ancestry, and that could come in like a lot of like they can channel it many ways, maybe through seeing things, to hearing things. And in our westernized society, it would be considered schizophrenia. So that's why I'm saying like,
Mhm.
yes, it's capitalism, but
There's
it
more to it.
there's more to it.
Mhm.
So talk about like do I um I don't think I meet the criteria anymore. I would have to like sit down and like look at it, but at some point I met the criteria for BPD. There's also this thing of like, was I misdiagnosed back then? I don't know. Um, and that's a whole other thing we can get into. But BPD is borderline personality disorder. So that's something that I would have to like disclose. No, don't want to have to. Yeah, if you want to be a mindful partner, yes. Um, disclose to like a future partner, like, hey, like I struggle with BPD, or I deal with BPD. I have bipolar, so that means I'm gonna have like really high highs, really low lows. Um, like my some okay, we're not gonna say who, but people that are important in my life, one of them got diagnosed with like autism, right? So then now their partner has to deal with that of like, okay, there's certain behaviors that they're going to have because of the autism. Is that something that I am like okay with? I don't know if I'll be able to date an autistic person, because there's those motherfuckers are very little, very logical, and they will tell me how it is, and I need a lot of like TLC. Like sometimes the shit my friends be telling me, I'd be like, ugh, that hurt. That
I don't know
hurt.
what friends you're talking about.
Other people don't. Don't out them.
No, I'm
You're
saying I
one
know.
of them. Um,
That's what I meant. It's like I don't know what you're talking about. Being direct and shit. I don't know what you mean.
you're like, I've never done that in my life.
Yeah.
Um, so so yeah, disclosing that, right? If you struggled with depression in the past, and like, hey, just so you know, I sometimes go through depressive episodes because the world is burning and I am deeply affected by it. There might be days where I'm not gonna get out of bed and I'm not gonna talk to you. Are you okay with that? And if you're not, that's okay. Just know that I ain't the one for you.
Yeah. And that goes, that's very good because you know your needs, right? And you know ideally that for someone that wants to show up for you and be there for you and all that, that you require them to have this level of understanding and empathy and all that stuff, to be like, hey, you're dealing with somebody that has this issues, that or that is dealing with this mental health problem or history or whatever. It requires a specific kind of person to be able to show up for you, and therefore you're most likely to succeed, which is the point of the thing, right? Like if
Yes.
somebody's able to, within the depression, within the anxiety, within the BPD or OCD, wherever it is, they're okay with that and they're willing to continue to in the relationship and continue to grow, then yeah, you're most likely setting yourself up to succeed, because that person's still willing, even if they say, that doesn't matter. I have no idea what the fuck to do with that, but like I'm gonna work at it to be able to best show up for you. Like, what a wonderful fucking feeling. Like, for fuck's sake, like that's all you want, to be like, I don't know how to deal with this. It's never been across, but for you, I'm willing to learn and I'm going to do the best that I can and how to show up for you. That's exactly what the fuck the episode can be summarized. It is that, like, yes, this is what you come with, and like I'm gonna make an effort to best show up for you. Um,
Must be nice.
that's the important of doing it. Yeah, for sure. Um, okay. The next one is very similar. Now we're talking about each other's mental health, so understanding each other's mental health. So it's having that conversation between both of you, to be like, hey, this is what I've come. This is what I come with. This is what I get. Sometimes I have the anxiety. I have depression. I have OCD. I have this. I have that. And being open with your journey and where you're at, and then the other person also being able to tell you what it is that they come with and what they struggle with or how they show up as themselves, and being able to once again give that to each other. Or if the other person, like, it's very hard for you to show up and be like, oh, I have this attachment style, I have this past mental health disorder, I have this thing, this is how I cope with my emotions. This is like, if you just go to the top and you say, this is how I regulate my thing, These are my emotional needs. These are the traumas that I come with. This is my mental health condition, and this is how I take care of those things. And the other person is like, cool, like, all right. Then they'll be like, all right, this person has none of the above, and it's gonna be very hard for someone to completely understand you or show up in the best way to possibly understand you. Like it's gonna be very hard for you to have all this awareness and somebody else to just be like, oh, cool story. Like I don't have any of that shit. I don't have any mental health problems. I don't have any traumas. Like I'm level headed, so I don't mentally need to regulate myself. I don't need emotional regulation. Like I'm chilling. Like, like it's very hard and it's gonna be a mismatch. So you need to be aware of that possible situation that could happen, um but that's why it's very important that we share that because yeah, you need to be shown up for and taken care of in the way that you deserve it and that you need it. And if someone doesn't have any of those things, then it's probably not going to work out. When you have so much awareness and the person has no awareness, it's not going to show up. It's not going to work out. The next thing is I'm not even letting you talk about that. Supporting supporting strategies is the next thing. If you listen to the past episode, you know what the fuck we're talking about. But yeah, we're just gonna like let it be.
This
I just,
requires you to be bilingual too, so
oh, okay, yeah, yeah. The last
yeah.
episode is just to give you a little thing. Like if you speak English and Spanish, go listen to the last episode and everything will make sense to you about why we're laughing and struggling at the same time. Um The next thing is supporting strategies, which means discuss how each of you prefers to be supported during difficult times. So what is like
Hug me,
yeah, how can I best show
hug
up for you,
me.
right?
Yes, just but that will require you to have like all the self-awareness that we're talking about,
Mhm.
right? Because um like there have been I can't not talk about it because this like all of this is this is your fault. You're doing
It's
this
a
on
relationship.
purpose.
It's a relationship in the past, a past relationship,
Eh, sure. I like how you're like in the past, in the past.
in
It's
the
gone.
past, in the
It's in the
past.
past. Um I've I've asked people, right? Like they're like, oh, blah 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 blah, blah, like all angry and whatever. And I've asked them, like, okay, all right, cool. You're feeling some type of way. You're getting triggered. What do you need from me? And they're like, I don't need anything. I'm like, clearly, clearly, you're needing something because you're feeling some type of way about X, Y, and Z. Like, hey, you're struggling right now. You're getting triggered. Like, how can I show up for you? I just need you to be there. How? Like you just want me to like just sit here and shut the fuck up? You want me to like hug you and cuddle you? You want me to like give you advice? Like what do you need from me? And them not knowing what they need is hard. And as we're talking about this, I want to also acknowledge the privilege that we have to have all of these things, right? Because then I was thinking of like, okay, how would this land with like your mom, your dad, my mom, my dad? Like, how this conversation that we're having would would that conversation land on them? And I don't think it would.
Mhm.
So acknowledging our privileged as here is
Mhm.
important because we might even have to go to more basic than what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Let me give you
Um,
a second. Interrupt you for a little bit. It wouldn't work because what we're talking about, it wouldn't land with people like that because what we're talking about is a skill that you have to learn, develop, and practice. Emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, you don't need them to survive.
mhm.
You do not need them to continue to, like, you just need to eat shit and fuck, and then you're going to be fine. You're gonna be able to like continue your life that way if you want to see it that
Sign
way.
me up.
So this is a skill that needs to, like I said, learned, understood, practice to be able to get you. That makes a big difference in the lives of the people that are lucky enough to be able to come across it, are lucky enough to be able to have the time to study it, are lucky to be able to afford a therapist, and all those things like you're saying. Like those are all privileges. um,
Yes.
and this is why we focus on this, because this skill, this emotional regulation, this emotional intelligence, knowing about your traumas, knowing about your mental health things, is not knowing those things is a big reason why all of us struggle with life. Like you are going to struggle in emotions and relationship and friendships with yourself, with everything around you, if you do not have those skills. So if everything is shit, everybody sucks, your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your cousin, your brother, and everybody's a piece of shit, and no one shows up for you, and you're alone, and you have addictions, and you have this, and you have all that, it's probably because you don't have any understanding of what it is that we're talking about. So imagine someone showing up not knowing any of this, and they just they don't know that they're angry, but they're fucking angry. They yell at you, they don't trust you, they have jealousy, they're either avoiding or attachment, they have all these things, but they don't know that anything of this is why it's happening, and to them it's just normal. Then it's very hard, and you see why people have problems not only in marriages, but just like I said, in every aspect of their lives, because relationships are a crucial part of our survival, and a crucial, and it's like a such a normal thing to have. And it's not only like a marriage or like a romantic relationship with friends, relationship with your coworkers, a relationship with the fucking mailman, with the person crossing the street, with the person that is you're driving on the freeway. Like you're interacting between two people, and without any emotional intelligence, you act angrily, or you blame people, and you don't look at the intricacies of like the relationships and the meanings and intentions and all those things and traumas in the past, and why people show up that way. So I guess to kind of close this little part of it off, I have become more peaceful with people because I know what it's like to have pain, to have suffering, to have anxiety, to have depression, and all that. So I no longer say this person is a piece of shit. I say this person has a lot of pain.
Yeah.
This person has suffered a lot in their life, and they haven't been able to cope with it. They haven't been able to learn about what emotional regulation is, emotional intelligence is, so that I'm no longer blame them, which also doesn't piss me off anymore, because I'm not saying you're evil, you're bad. What does that mean? Well, how if I just categorize somebody as being a piece of shit or evil or a bad person, that creates a lot of anger within me towards them, a lot of frustration, a lot of that. If I'm able to say this person has a lot of trauma, has unresolved or undiagnosed mental health conditions, has no emotional regulation, and it comes from pain and it comes from that, then I no longer have anger, which doesn't longer, there's no anger, doesn't live, or lives a lot less in my body now for me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, this has nothing to do with, or maybe it does, I don't know. But as you were saying that, oh my God, I'm like, I have like a sneeze like stuck. It does not walk about. Um, but uh I saw like a reel the other day that was like, okay, if you're on planes and like kids bother you, kids in the on the plane like crying bother you, that's like a you problem. And if I would have seen that reel 3 years ago, I would have been like, fuck them babies. Control your fucking kids.
Yeah.
However, because like people's reactions are about them, right? So like lo que
Mhm.
te choca te checa. So my inner wounded child did not get the attention that she needed when she would have those crying outbursts. So that was a wound that was like being touched every time a crying child would be on the plane. I didn't know this before, so I would just say, fuck them kids. Now that I've worked through my shit, I get on the plane and I hear a crying baby. And yeah, the initial still like, ugh. But then I am like, wait, hold on. They're babies. They don't know how to regulate their nervous system. They're in an uncomfortable situation, the altitude, whatever, pressure, whatever. Be gentle, Norma. It is okay. And I'm like, you're right. And now I'm like, poor baby, I hope they're okay. Oh. Right? Like, so I don't know why it made me think of that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's 100% true. And then I had a similar realization at some point with when Mia, when she was like a baby. This is my 8-year-old for people that don't know. Like, I was so pissed off that she kept on fucking crying one time. And then, like, at some point, for some reason, maybe because I was already in my journey of healing and understanding shit, I was like, you're being pretty selfish to care more about your sleep and your tiredness right now. And your anger is not doing anything. Why don't you instead take a step back and realize that she needs you? And if you cater to her needs right now and you make her feel better and you do whatever is in your power to ease her crying, she's gonna come down, she's gonna go to sleep, and then you can take your ass back to sleep. Like, why are you, instead of you being frustrated and pissing yourself off pretending that you're sleeping and ignoring her and her fucking crying, why don't you just do something about it instead to help it and do that? But that took skill, and that took like self-awareness, and that took like emotional, like to catch myself be like, I'm angry,
Yeah.
I'm fucking angry, and to be like, okay, well, let me attend to her instead.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, the next thing are boundaries. What are boundaries?
Boundaries, 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 boundaries. A boundary. This is from she is a psychologist, I believe. Her name is Dr. Becky. Um she has been a guest on the Huberman Lab podcast. But yeah, her name is Dr. Becky. She talked about boundaries, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like the best definition that I've ever heard in terms of boundaries. Because we get that word gets thrown a lot now, like they didn't respect my boundaries, and I set those boundaries, and you tell them and whatever. But I think a lot of us don't even know how to set boundaries. I didn't know how to set boundaries myself until I heard this definition from her. Boundaries are it's something I will do and it requires the other person to do nothing. A boundary is something I will do and it requires the other person to do nothing. She mentions that we confuse boundaries with requests. So, like, for example, if I don't like to be yelled at when we're having an argument and you are yelling at me, and I'm like, don't yell at me when we're having an argument, people think that's a boundary. That's not a boundary, that's a request.
Hmm.
Because I'm requesting you to do something. I can't control what you do. If next time we get into an argument, you yell at me again, what the fuck am I gonna do? I can't shut your mouth. Like I cannot make you do something or make you stop doing something. So those are requests. A boundary, if we take it from like it's something I will do and it requires you to do nothing, then that means if you yell at me when we are having an argument, I will X, Y, and Z. I will leave. I will end the conversation. I will call you out. I will shut down. Like whatever the case may be, that's a boundary.
Hmm. Yeah. So
So what?
yeah, it's some, I don't know what the word is, because it's not, like you said, it's not a request. It's something that because I can tell you what the boundary is, right? Like, hey, I don't like being yelled at, but it's not about you shutting them up. It's a saying, I don't like being yelled at. Next time you yell at me, I am going to walk away from the situation. So
Mhm.
it's not, you're telling them what your boundary is, but you are the one that is responsible for enforcing it. They are responsible for respecting it. But if they don't do that, like you're not asking them, you're not requesting anything from them other than like stop yelling at me. But when the yelling happens, you are not forcing them. Like you're yelling at me again, and this is not okay, and this is the shit. You're just saying no.
Mhm.
This is the thing. I am doing this the next time you yell. It has nothing to do with what you do or don't do when you yell.
Mhm.
Is how I respond next time that you
Yes.
yell.
Yes. Right. And like if we look at, like, for example, the like a house, keeping a, because a boundary, what you're trying to do is keep your house safe, right? Like it's keeping yourself safe. So if we look at like the little house, you're not going to, this is how we set boundaries. I'm looking over because that's where my door is for my house. Um, we don't open a door or leave the door open at night and be like, please don't come in and rob us. Please don't come in and rob us. But leave the door wide open. Somebody's gonna come in here and they're gonna fucking rob you. And it could be like, bitch, you're a dumbass. Why didn't you close your door? Be like, but I asked you not to come in and rob my house. And I've asked you multiple times not to come in and rob my house. And you keep doing it. Why do you keep doing that? If I already told you not to. So my job is to, at night, go look at that door, lock that shit so that nobody comes in and rob us. That is my responsibility.
Just you setting the boundary.
That is the boundary. That's a physical boundary. A door, locked door, is your physical boundary of like, you are not to be in here. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us go through life asking people like, please don't hurt me, please don't rob my house. But here's the door. It is wide as motherfucking open. But please don't rob me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be robbed. We're gonna
Yeah.
be robbed.
Yeah. I think, and I don't even think you need to necessarily tell them that that's the boundary because I'm thinking how I've done that. Like, I now, when I get disrespected and I know that it's coming for blatant disrespect and anger from you, from somebody, I just walk away. Like, when I perceive you are right now, you've gone past the point of having a conversation or an argument and you just throwing shit at the wall out of anger and just out of frustration and you're being just straight up disrespectful, then I'm done and I walk away. Like that's literally my thing now. And I'm realizing that I do that a lot more. And that is setting a boundary that they don't even know the shit. And yes, I think I've said it a couple times. Well, like and I said, I'm just walking away now because now you're just being disrespectful. Like you're not even capable of having the conversation. I'm just walking away. Like that's me
Mm,
saying I am not going to take this because you've passed the point. I walked away. I didn't say I didn't ask them, don't yell at me, don't disrespect me. I'm saying you're disrespecting me and I'm not going to allow that. So I walk away. I don't sit there and be like, can you please not be disrespectful? Can like they can like, oh well, now what you're saying is this the thing. I'm not requesting shit from them. You just get to the point where you cross that fucking line and I'm like, I'm moving on. I'm physically getting up and taking myself away from it because I'm not going to allow you to disrespect me or to just blatantly be uh like I said, you're just being disrespectful now with no reasoning, and then you gone past that. But I'm not like I think it's holds because I'm not requesting anything from you. I'm not saying do this or anything. I'm just like, okay, you've crossed this line. I'm walking away.
I think the only thing that I would add to that is like the
Mhm.
part of reminder that boundaries are, a lot of people think like, oh, like we have a hard time setting boundaries because um we think that that's going to create disconnection from the person. Boundaries are actually an attempt at preserving relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So for me, I think vocalizing those boundaries are important because sometimes people don't even know that they might be disrespecting you,
Hmm.
right? So that if you're trying to preserve that relationship, I would, like, you don't have to do it, but I would be like, hey, if we start like personally offending the other, then I'm going to walk away, just so that, like, and this is me trying to still continue to have this conversation with you, but I don't want to do it
Yeah.
in a way that's going to hurt you, in a way that's going to hurt me. um
Yep.
so I would express the boundaries. I
What
would
the actual thing is.
yeah, what they actually are. Because then people that might not be like self-aware, they could be like, well, every time we talk you walk away. Right, they might just be seeing you as like just like leaving the situation, and they might not even be aware that they are like personally attacking you.
True, true, true. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right. But just shows to you how, again, we're it's honing those fucking skills, right? And like working at this shit and even
Yeah.
having this conversation still, even though we have an understanding of it, we still need the help with it. Um, Conflict resolution. When it comes to communication, the next topic would be in communication. So just learn and practice healthy ways of conflict resolution. One thing that I've always that was very impactful to me was realizing that is me and you versus the problem, not me versus you. That's like a simple thing that when I'm able to have that
Yes.
understanding, then I can completely like emotionally regulate myself when I know that.
You became muted.
I'm talking to the girls again. Give me 1 second. The next one is expressing needs.
Give me one
Tell us how.
second because I'm dealing with my document. 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, Mia, give me 1 second, please. I'm almost done, girls. Go. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Sorry for this couple seconds of freaking thing here, but like I said, real people with real stuff going on. Aliyah, close the door, please. Um, Expressing needs is the next one after that. So I don't want to skip the conflict resolution thing, but it's how do we best deal with this situation? How do we get to an outcome? How do we, once again, about understanding one another? How do we get to a place where we understand each other's needs? How do we understand and see one another and just solve the problem in a way that is actually to solve it and understand the intricacies of it? And it requires, again, everything we talked about to be like, this person's not just being a fucking dick just to be mean to me. This person is not just doing that, because who just wakes up and be like, I'm gonna fuck with this person just for the fuck of it? Like, that doesn't work. So understanding how to solve that. One thing that I'm gonna offer everybody, again, that I need to remake this graphic because I can't find it, or at least I have to go back to my Instagram and try to find it. It was the two donkeys. Those fucking two donkeys are forever gonna be in my mind. This is a graphic, a picture of three three or four things happening with the donkeys. So there's two donkeys. The donkeys are like, they somehow they made it seem like the donkeys are hungry, right? So the donkeys are hungry and they're tied to each other. On one side of one donkey, like 3 steps away, there's a bush. On the other side of the other donkey, there's another bush. The donkeys are tied to one another. So, in the next thing, both of the donkeys go to try to get food, but what happens? They can't reach it because the rope is already extended to its fullest. So, neither of them can eat, and they're still both hungry. So, then, in the next little part of the graphic, they realize that they should probably just go and like let one of them eat so that one can eat and then give in and the other one can give in afterwards. So then the next part of it is like one of them gets a little closer and lets one of them eat and just waits patiently, and then in the next graphic the other one leans and then like the other one eat, and then they're happy because they both got their, like, they're both ate
Both
and they're
ate.
cool. So that's the same thing. It was so beautiful in how they put it together. Like I said, it's so impactful that I've probably brought it up like 15-20 times in my life since I saw that, because we're so, when we're so hungry for our needs to be met, we're pulling hard, but like, you're not doing this and you're not doing that, and I need you to do this and I need you to do that, and then the other person responds, well, you're not doing this also, you're not doing this, and it's like, okay. And I've done this in the past in conversations with my wife, where it's like, okay, yes, but that's not, can we address this first and then we can address your part of it? Or Lasso, let me just address this part of it, but I need you to then after that just listen to what I'm saying so you can address my part of it, and I let you eat, then you let me eat, kind of thing, you know? because we become so in conflict, especially when there's so much emotion. We just want our needs to be met, and then we're not even willing to look at the other side, you know. So either
Yeah.
express again, yes, you're also hungry and I also fucked up. Can we address how I need to be met first, and then we can deal with you? Or this person has a lot of anger, a lot of shit. Okay, let me address those needs first, and then I know that later on we can address my needs. That's like a perfect way for you, I think, for people to see conflict and to see how um, we pull when we're emotional and how we can resolve it by meeting each other's needs in that way, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Expressing needs was the same thing. You know, what's the next one? Which is like learning for you to communicate what you need. How can somebody best show up for you and help you with the feelings? That also has made a big difference in my relationship, I think, to be able to, because my wife sometimes still jumps into advice giving because she knows that I'm so like logical, but now I know the difference of like, no, I don't need, I know what I have to do. I know that that's the point. I know that that's the end goal. Let me just fucking be mad, please. I don't want to, I don't want to solve it right now. I just want to be mad. Just let me be fucking mad. I know that
Be
usually you're,
angry with me.
yeah, like you're used to. I'm so problem solving like type that like you think that by you giving me problem solving is what I need, but I'm like, this is not working right now. I know what I have to do. Just fucking let me be angry, let me be sad, let me do the thing, you know. But that, like, that made a big difference in understanding that, because now she's like, okay, now she asked me, she literally did this when I was emotional a couple of days ago. She comes to the room and she's like, you okay? He's like, no. You want to talk about it? Like, no, not right now. Okay, I'll give you your space. Boom. I wasn't ready to talk about it. I didn't want to address it because it was too painful or whatever reason. So now she stepped away, and then we talked about it afterwards, you know. But it's such a, it seems like so simple, but it makes a world of a difference in knowing what you need, and her
Hmm.
actually to have the mindfulness to be like, let me ask him if he's okay, or if he wants to even have the conversation before I jump in here and try to have that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah, listening skills, same thing. Empathetic listening. Listen to, this is one thing that I've been saying lately is to people, is listen out of curiosity and don't listen to respond. Like, listen with curiosity. Don't listen to with an idea to defend yourself or to respond. Like, be curious and actively think, what is this person going through? What is this person saying? How can I understand the situation more? So like, listen with curiosity and don't listen just to respond, or don't start thinking of shit to say to rebuttal or anything like that. Like, listen with curiosity. It's like a simple way to put it.
Hmm.
I'm thinking that there's so much stuff that we could probably break it into two different pieces,
Yeah.
because
There's still a lot.
there's still attachment styles, love languages, trust issues, family dynamics, future planning, parenting, preparedness for growth, and all a bunch of things, you know, that we can still get into. So definitely, I think the next one will be a part two.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like, just to close it off, like I said, just to be transparent on why this idea to have this episode came from me was that part of
Because you wanted to
the,
personally attack me.
yeah, that was part of it too. Um, was to just see how much to, like I said, once you then also and I once you have this skill of emotional intelligence, you're able to see pain, you're able to see suffering, you're able to see it within yourself, and you're able to see it in other people. That's one of the skills that comes up with it, right? So now, because I have this skill to navigate my own feelings, my own traumas, my own emotions, my own mental health abilities and disabilities and whatever I have, or advantages or disadvantages, I'm able to also see that in somebody else. And
Yeah.
I can't think. and just not gonna out anybody, but I don't think I know of a single marriage, a single relationship in my community, in my family, that has it figured out, that has a 100% like healthy thing, a relationship where it's just more beneficial than harmful. Like it's very hard for me to think, and are there people growing and learning in those things? Yeah. Like there's relationships that I'm like, oh, you guys are on your path, like you guys are walking the path and you're getting there and you're growing and you're doing it. But especially with older couples, it's like, yeah, like nah, like there's so much suffering, so much pain, so much acceptance of completely fucked up idea of what marriage should be. Like so much suffering, so much needs being unmet, so much, like so little emotional regulation, so much trauma, so much unresolved issues that it's painful to see that. So much lack of vulnerability, like so much judgment, or that from just being able to tell somebody that you love them, or be able to, yeah, it's just so much pain. And that's the point of it. I want to let you guys know that like it's not supposed to be like that, ideally. And the marriage, you're choosing to be with somebody, for fuck's sake. Like choose a person that is gonna make your life easier. Like this fucking world and this life is so hard to maneuver and so hard to deal with it on this shit that's going on. Why would I actively choose to be with somebody that makes it worse? And then at some point, I think we have to start also, which is a big thing. Maybe it will leave it for I mean, we'll definitely leave it for the next episode. I added to my notes. Is this fucking taboo of divorce? This shit of like somehow you failed if you get a divorce. Like I know that's changing, but then that's still there in so many people's minds that it's like, oh no, I failed in the relationship if I get a divorce. Be like, no, it's completely fine. Walk the fuck away. Like if you know that there's no way to solve it, there's no shit. You already tried, or you don't want to, or for whatever the reason, like you're taking care of yourself, then take care of yourself. If that's not the right thing, that's not the right person, and fucking move on. Which I know there's like a balance too, because you don't want to just get married and throw shit away. There's also the counter argument, which we will touch up on, that I think people just see marriage very lightly, like yes, and that's an issue. But we need to look at each, I think, scenario with curiosity, and not judge whether everybody should be married all the time and not be divorced, or divorce you could just be willy-nilly throwing it out there and getting divorced.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
that balance is important.
yeah, we'll continue in episode 2, and hopefully we can give you guys, and like I said, it helps you guys maybe see where you're at, and
Yeah.
if you don't have anything, go from there. And the last very thing I'll say for now is, like, if you don't have any of the skills, like I said, it doesn't mean you're gonna fail. Me and my wife didn't have any of the skills. I think we had, fuck, I don't know, like barely any skills when it came to this. When we got married, when we were dating,
Yeah.
and we are proof that just because you don't have them when you get married doesn't mean you can't succeed. Like it's gonna be hard, and you're gonna learn and unlearn a bunch of shit. But like the fact that we're both willing to work at it, and we understand where our limitations and all this shit at, is what has made our marriage like successful.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think like one of the things that I would suggest if you don't have any of these things yet is like that part of like be open to be challenged, right? Because one of the things that you mentioned that I was like, when you're like, oh, that person, they should make it easier, right? I'm like, not necessarily. Like if a relationship is worth fighting for, it's going to take a lot of work. I think good things, um, good
Yeah,
things take a lot of time and effort and intentionality. And I think because we've been sold this idea of like the happily ever after, that once you found your person, um, like it's just supposed to just like fall into place and be. That's not the case, right? And
yeah,
somebody recently told me that, like, I want us to just be, to not have to think about it. And I'm like, that is not how life works. Like if you want a relationship to work, you're gonna have to think about it. You're gonna have to be intentional. Like it's not
Yeah.
just going to happen, right? And even though you didn't have those skills, they didn't come from you sitting on your ass and just be like, yeah, she just made it easier. No, he
Yeah.
didn't. She
Yeah.
challenged the fuck out of you. You challenged the fuck out of her. And from
Yeah.
that, you were both willing to grow and learn.
Yeah.
And that's what's gotten you here.
Yeah. I mean like life outside of, like, just dealing with life outside of it, because yes, the reason why it's been successful with me and her is because of all the pain that we've been through together. But there was never, what I'm saying is, there was never in my mind a time where I said she's just like fucking making it harder for the sake of making it harder. She's not understanding me. She's just fucking pushing me away. She's just doing all those things for that. Like there was, yeah, maybe at the beginning of the relationship there was those things, or the marriage, but there's, in my mind, it's never been she's just fucking with me to fuck with me, and I'm just gonna complain about her, and she's just like a bad person, or she's just doing this and that, you know. Like it was,
Mm-hmm.
I have an understanding of, like, this is the process for you to learn for each other, for you to bond, for you to connect stronger and shit like that. I just mean, like, if I didn't have my wife, I don't know what the fuck my life would be like, because who the fuck, like, you get me? Like, she makes life maneuvering so much easier, and just dealing and living life so much easier. That's what I mean. Like, you can get to a point where it should be like that, and I don't think it, unless very early in the relationship, I never felt like she was a burden. Like, I felt, even though we were growing together, it never felt like she was making my life worse. I never said, "Oh, you are the reason why my fucking life is painful or hard or suffering or any of that stuff." You know, that's what I
Good.
mean.
Shout out to Celia. Shout out to Celia Doñas. We love you. Thank you for keeping up with his ass.
Yep. All right. We'll
Because
just leave
you
it at
ain't
that.
easy, motherfucker.
Get ready to part two. Let's get ready to part two, and we'll come back to it some other time, because we're both tired. Peace. Oh, you gotta let go. Let go in order to grow. Let go of those ideas. Let go that this is normal. Let go of the shit. Just be open to change. Let go in order to grow. Peace.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.